For the longest time, I felt that I was still questioning, like I was still figuring myself out, even though I'm not. I kind of know, like I know what I feel like, how I feel. I just kind of doubt on what label to put on it. Does this look like a weird nipple? So, I have a problem. Well, I have many problems, of course, that's nothing new, but it is incredibly warm in here and I'm going to keep this fan on right now and it might mess up my audio. But I mean, I love you all. I love you all a lot. But there are limits to what I am willing to do in order to make these videos. And I'm not turning that thing off. So I hope that this thing will turn out okay. So happy Pride Month, everyone. Yay! Woo! So I told my therapist that I do YouTube. So if you're watching this and you are my therapist, stop watching, please. But he told me, oh, that's so cool. You're able to tell stories very well. So are you really yourself on camera? And yeah, not really. I don't know. I do filter myself a bit. So I thought this video was going to be perfect chance to just talk about me. Because it's Pride Month. And this video is very scripted. Look, I make notes. This is it. That's when I stopped. Also, the hair is not a part of it. I just bought the wrong hair dye and I haven't felt like dyeing it again. But yeah. Anyways, hi. If you're new here, I'm Luca and I make videos about Tourette's. Hey. And I also want to make more videos about LGBT stuff. I just really haven't done that a lot, but of course it's Pride Month now, so I have to. It's really warm in here. Oh my God. Cheers. So, what I want to talk about today is, heyo, I'm not sure really why I haven't made more videos about LGBT stuff. I have a lot of thoughts about it, but I'm not always sure how to talk about it on camera and make it into a neat little package. But I guess I don't always have to. And this is just my story. I want to talk about my gender identity and my sexual identity. Ayo. Before we start, I know that there are some people that will comment something along the lines of, it doesn't matter, or labels don't matter, I don't care about your labels. And I know that the people that comment that do that from the right place. And some of these people I'll know personally, and I know that they mean it well. And normally I wouldn't really react to that, but ayo. I kind of want to now. I just want to say that labels do matter to some capacity. I understand that it shouldn't have to matter, but labels help people, queer people, to understand who they are, what their experience is, how they feel, and finding that right label when you start figuring out who you are, it is such an important moment. And that's why I want to talk about it. So labels are important, but on the other hand, they can be complicated and ever-changing. And so I want to talk about that. That's this video. Let's start with the easy bit, at least for me, the thing that's most clear to me, and that is what my sexuality is. I identify as bisexual. Now, I know that there are people that think that the word bisexual excludes either trans people in general or non-binary people, since the prefix bi would mean two. And the obvious kind of conclusion then will be men and women. But that's not how I identify or how I see the word bi. Bisexuality is an umbrella term for anyone who is neither straight nor gay. and that's why I am. Now, I know that there are loads of more specific words to identify bisexuality, like pansexual, omnisexual, stuff like that. But I've never really felt a pull towards any of those terms. Maybe it's because I've always identified as bisexual, even when I was much younger, way before I realized that I was trans. I identified as bisexual just because I was attracted to all genders. And yeah, that word kind of works for me. For me, it means I'm attracted to my gender and all other genders. That's just what it means to me. I have kind of used the word pansexual for a bit, and that's just the way that I experience that word. Of course, that's not how everyone experiences that word. That for me, pansexual is more I'm attracted to a person despite of their gender. I don't care about gender. For me, the gender is a factor in why I'm attracted to someone, and their gender expression as well. Even though it's all of them. I like feminine man, masculine man, androgynous non-binary people, masculine non-binary people, feminine non-binary people, feminine women, masculine women. Their gender is a part of why I'm attracted to that person. It's definitely a part of why I'm attracted to them. And just for me, the word pansexual is more, I'm attracted to the person, not their gender. And of course, you're attracted to a person and not their gender. I think that counts for everyone. But for me, their gender is a part of why I'm attracted to that person. So yeah, that's why I use the word bisexual. And again, bisexual is not transphobic. It's an umbrella term. So yeah. Now, my gender identity. You would think that after being, 4 or 5 years into my transition. I don't know. I never counted the days. I've never done that. But 4 or 5 years into my transition on testosterone after top surgery, I could answer this question. But to be honest, I don't know. I have no idea. And yeah, it's a weird thing. And maybe that's part of why I don't make a lot of trans-related content, because I'm not really sure. I don't really know how to talk about this stuff. Because on the one hand, I'm a trans guy. I'm a guy, FTM, transgender. But am I really like binary transgender? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so. And I think that I'm somewhere in between, and I really like the term FTM non-binary. And I just had a thought, I think like a couple of hours ago, about how gender is a spectrum, right? That is something that I hope we can all agree on. If we don't agree on that, well, this video was never for you, but gender is a spectrum. And usually you see you're either binary or non-binary, which is in and of itself quite binary, if that makes sense. So I think there's even a spectrum between non-binary and binary. And I'm somewhere in between there. All I know for sure is I'm not a woman. I never was. I'm not. That's the thing. And I know that I like to be perceived as male. I like he, him pronouns mostly. I'm all right with they, them pronouns and neo pronouns as well. That's also fine with me. Don't call me she, her. Not even when I'm in drag. Don't call me queen. Please don't. And maybe this is my mother, who is lovely and she is great with my gender identity, but it's I think a generational difference. And yeah, I mean, just sometimes saying stuff without really getting it. And I talked to her about how I don't really completely perceive myself as fully male and more as kind of non-binary. And she kind of interpreted that as kind of feminine, kind of female, kind of male. Like there's this female part to it. And I don't like that. I don't know. I don't like the idea of, and of course, like, not all non-binary people have this and want this, but this idea of people looking at you and not knowing whether you're male or female, or being so androgynous that they don't know. I don't like that idea, because I really don't want to be perceived as female at all. I'd rather be perceived sometimes as an androgynous man, but I also kind of like sometimes being perceived just as a guy, and that's also fine. I'm kind of in between. But that's more about how I want the world to see me, how I present myself to the world when I go to work, when I'm out in public, when I meet new people. I'm very happy that they just perceive me as male, call me he, him. So I'm not stealth in any way, but also I don't bring it up all the time. If it comes up, I'll tell people, but I'm fine with them not knowing. But that's how I present on the outside. I think when you talk about different layers of, sexuality, gender identity, gender presentation, when you talk about gender presentation, I present mostly male, sometimes androgynous. I do like doing drag as well, sometimes more feminine, sometimes just anything. Then you have your gender identity, the way that you present it to the world, the way that you want people to perceive you. But I also think there's even a layer more personal, and I think that layer for me is more non-binary, and that I somehow kind of fit in between those categories. Even after all these years, I still don't know for sure. I still don't know exactly what I am. And I think that's fine. But I also think that it has sometimes made it difficult for me to claim a term. I'm all right with claiming FTM. I don't know. I'm all right with that. But like interacting with the non-binary community, I sometimes still feel a bit like I don't really belong there, like I'm not allowed to claim that word, because when I talk to strangers or in general to people, I will just say I'm a trans guy, and I don't really talk about my non-binary identity, even though, of course, I don't owe that to anyone, but it's also not a secret, and that makes it kind of a weird thing. And yeah, I don't know, those labels, I've kind of let go of them now, and that's a luxury position that I am in right now, that I don't really care that much anymore. I'm kind of an in-between of an in-between, and that's fine. And it might change at some point. I'm not worried about that. I think it's quite possible that in a few years or even a few months, I might make a new video telling everyone that I'm non-binary, call me they, them, and that's it. Or the opposite, that I don't know, non-binary is not part of my identity, or that, yeah, this is it. This is just the way that I am. And that's the weird thing, is that for the longest time, I felt that I was still questioning, like I was still figuring myself out, even though I'm not. I kind of know, like I know what I feel like, how I feel. I just kind of doubt on what label to put on it, because if you are trans or non-binary or questioning or queer and questioning, you probably have looked for the exact correct label for so long, and maybe you've gone through several of them. Because I've called myself gender fluid, gender queer, agender, FTM trans, transmasculine, demi boy. Yeah, I've tried them all to see if they fit. And look at the theory about the difference between sexual attraction, gender identity, gender presentation, all that stuff, and just trying to find the correct term. And that search is really valid, because it's an important step in trying to figure yourself out, finding your own little niche, your own little, like, this fits, this is me. But in the end, it's still just a category, and no one fits exactly within a label. If you feel like you fit exactly within your label, also, that's fine. But they're categories, they're just words. They're just words to describe a section of something, to describe an experience. And there's so many different experiences. Every person's experience is different. and you don't have to fit exactly within a label, and you can claim whatever label kind of fits you. So yeah, I guess I'm FDM non-binary guy, something? Who knows? And that's fine. That's it. So yeah, happy Pride. I hope you are safe. I hope you're doing well. And I love you all so much. And I hope to see you soon.